All right. Well, welcome to it. Wait, no, that ain't how I'm supposed to do it.
That's all right.
Oh, okay. That started out wonderfully.
Is that a beer from Tiger Tap or whatever?
No, this one's just a straight up Sierra Nevada. That's
okay.
usually my beer of choice at the house.
Gotcha.
Tasty and cheap.
All right.
Welcome all back to Street PX, a photography podcast. It is October 9, and you're listening to me, Casper.
And Jim Watkins. Casper, how are you doing, man?
Been great. Actually, we were talking just before the show here about an upcoming bar, a tap room that a friend of mine's got coming open here in Oakland, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to beer.
It sounds like it's been one of those weeks or something, man.
It has. Yeah. Between work and then my regular photo gigs and stuff, it's just like I'm gonna come up and breathe. I feel like I'm doing kind of the dolphin thing. They come up, get some air, and then go back down.
Yeah.
I'm just not a dolphin though, so I don't have that lung capacity.
And you know what? You sounded like me because I've got the same thing. All these photo gigs coming up this week, and oh my God, man! Every day of the week I've got an event to shoot, and I said
that's awesome. That's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it is. It's a great problem to have. And the cool thing about it, when you related it to street photography, I seem to hone my skills doing this other stuff with this, honing my street photography. It's like every time I get a break to do street photography, I come up with something decent. It's like, I'm not out there all the time. When I get out there, I get some really quality street time in. I guess when you don't have a lot to do it, you really work hard to get some quality work in. So I've been getting a few quality shots in. So that's a good thing out of this.
Yes, yeah. We obviously our show here is street centric, documentary and journalism, pretty much focusing that lens on another person and telling the story of it. But every once in a while, it's nice to get outside of that vein, and like what you're doing with the events. We were talking just before the show as well about another subject because I'm just feeling sharing right now, or rather sharing for you. But you were working on the Yerba Buena stuff.
That's right. Yeah, this morning I did an event for Indigenous Peoples Day instead of Columbus, replacing Columbus Day.
I like that very much.
Yeah, and they had a lot of the now Native Americans that are native to the West Coast here, and they were in their dress, their ceremonial dress, and they were dancing, and it was just so cool. They got people in the audience to come up and dance with them in I think some kind of dance circle. And I was in the middle of this dance circle, it was squeezing in. It was getting closer and closer and tighter. And I was saying, "Oh my God!" I said, "These people are gonna crush me," but I was still getting shots, man. I was still firing away. But man, it was so much fun. And like I said, you related to street photography, and you really have to anticipate. You really have to, you search out your target, pick out a target, anticipate what they're gonna do, and shoot. And I can always translate that to my street photography. So, it's a beneficial thing to step back from street photography once in a while and kind of readjust your eye a little bit, and then you can just get back out there on the street and see what you come up with.
True that.
Yeah.
Very well said.
Yeah.
So, but I guess, we got a hell of a show. We're over here rambling, but we got a great show coming up here with, who we got?
We got Hanna Radek.
Yes.
And this is the great thing. This is coming out of Munich. We can sit in her living room in Munich and just chat about photography. That's the cool thing about this podcast, man.
Exactly. Now, I gotta say, we weren't physically there, though we were there in spirit and in desire, because to be able to shoot Munich and be able to travel
Oh man, yeah.
Yes. And that's what a big part of the subject we're talking about today is travel photography.
That's right.
So yeah, I want to get into that. So we ain't even going to bother with any regular plugs, but I am going to give some love to our sponsor, Glass Key Photo.
Oh, always.
And what they got? They got coming up a Photo Devil Zine and Book Fair. I do want to get that out there. What is that? October 27th.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Sorry, you asked me that question, and then my eyes just kind of went blank at the notes I'm looking at.
I think it's that beer that you're sipping right now.
I think so. I think you nailed it.
Yeah.
But yes, if you are a fan of zines and handmade books regarding all revolving around photography, definitely check this out. You can find out more information at their website, glasskeyphoto.com, and beyond that. If you dig the show, go check us out on iTunes or what is it, Spotify, Facebook. Throw some love our way or share us around. That's also great too.
Yeah, that's right.
We never ask that one.
That's right. That's important. Yes, share us.
Yes, take that link, put it in Facebook or Twitter or whatever your choice is, and share.
Yep.
Now it's time for us to share and jump into this episode with Hanna Radek.
Let's go.
At first, and we'll get into that. But we have Hanna Radek. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm super excited to be connected with you from Munich to San Francisco, San Jose, Oakland it was.
Yeah.
So you're in Munich now, right?
Yes.
So it's Munich where we finally was able to catch you and settle you down for a moment to get on the microphone.
Exactly.
You are always on the go, but that's the exciting thing.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, for all of our listeners out there, this is definitely going to be a very travel centric show. But it is travel / street, pretty much human interest, and Hanna comes to us to tell us a few stories about people from all around the world. So that's what's going to be great about it.
Fantastic. Now Casper and I have known Hanna for about 2.5 years now. We met in about 2016 when you were in the Bay Area, and California. Because you were doing other things too, and it's just I've been following Hanna for these 2.5 years and just been excited about seeing her work and the stories that she tells. So I cannot wait till we get into some of those stories.
Yes. I mean, just to kick it off, let's kind of rewind or at least jump in our time machine really quickly and just ask where did you grow up at?
So I was born and I grew up in Nuremberg in Franconia, which is a part of Bavaria. We have the biggest density of breweries in the whole world, just if you want to know that. But my parents, they come both from Czech Republic and emigrated. So I grew up in Germany, but I never really felt like a proper German because there is this Czech blood running through my veins. And since I'm on this planet, I travel back and forth to Czech Republic and Germany, of course. I now live here again. But I used to live here and there also. For half a year, I really lived in Prague, which is one of my favorite cities that I love. And I let you ask me more questions because I cannot stop talking if you want to start.
No, you keep talking. That's the whole point.
We just wind up the Energizer Bunny and just let you go.
Right.
Now tell us about your profession. What do you do? Because I think that's fascinating.
Is it? Well, but I think I need to go back in the years, I guess. Let's get back because it's about photography today, right?
It's about all things.
Yeah, it's about everything. This is about Hanna.
It's about Hanna. So
yeah.
Hanna is also about her parents, right? Because without them, I wouldn't be here. So when I was 15 years old, my dad came to me with his Minolta XD5. and he told me, look, this is how it works. And he explained me everything. He gave me a piece of paper and a pen, and he was like, okay, girl, now you go out and shoot, and whatever you do there, just write it down. And I was like, okay, let's do that. And I went, and I just pressed the button and tried to apply what he just explained to me. And I thought that was cool, you know? So since then, I was shooting. I was in the dark room a lot in my school and spent hours and hours there. And I realized for me, it must be something creative. Like, I'm a creative person. Like, science is a wonderful thing. But like mathematics, like it's not for me. Like, we have all our skills, right? So mine is definitely like the creative part and languages that I love. And so then I was looking, what could I do? And I was, of course, thinking of becoming a photographer as well. But I found this university, and they offered the studies of, I think I would translate it with media design, where I also applied with photography. And while studying there, we also had a 3D class. And so I started building things in 3D, and then I started moving them around. It's called animation. And I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. And I decided, like, there is something that you can just bring to life, you know, just a box. And it moves, and you can make it move the way you want. And I was like so fascinated by it that I was like, okay, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. Like, yeah. So I decided to become a 3D artist, character animator. And so, yeah, I worked on that, like, through my,
fascinating,
like, during my studies and after my studies. And yeah, I managed to work on, like, that was my biggest gig, which was the Avengers. I had even some Iron Man I animated, which was super exciting.
Well, now let's not gloss over this, because
no. We're not skipping this.
No, it's not too much to say about. Like, I used to work as a 3D artist also for Adidas, or Adidas as we say in German, and like this and that. But this was like my feature film movie thing, which was amazing. It was also in Munich, actually. I came here for half a year. And we were a crew from like all over the world. I love that. Like, people from Romania, Brazil, Argentina, Spain, Germany, of course, England, Wales. I don't know. We were from all over the place, and it was just, I love that. I just, that's when I feel at home, you know, when you have peoples and stories from everywhere. And yeah, it was nice.
When you say that you were working on like the Avengers and you were working with some Iron Man stuff, are you talking about doing the character modeling and animation for like the Iron Man suit and those kind of cut scenes and whatnot?
So I already got the model rigged, so it has like some handles on it, and I had some scenes where you shoot, like I shot basically. You know, I made him shoot, like I moved him around. And but also cool. I must say I'm not in animation anymore because I realized
that's all right.
I want a future in my life. I mean, superheroes, it's fine to save people on the screen, and it's fun. But also the industry, it's like super tough. And I just realized if I am only a character animator, like if this is my only professional skill, where will I be in 10 years? Like it's not really the life I imagine, to be dependent on just a few big studios. And I see what happens to my friends and mentors, you know, I mean, it's getting harder and harder to have a life. But I mean, it's for someone that's it. And for me, I just got my experience, and I'm just going further. And currently I'm working as a production manager in a VR studio, or like we're basically focused on real-time graphics, VR, augmented reality, which is interesting as well. And there I can apply more my communication skills. And I just love to be on the edge where people meet and ideas are created. That's just, I love that. And then when I can speak more of my languages I speak, then I'm happy.
Fantastic. And it's the Age of Ultron, just for you listeners out there. That's the one she worked on.
I'm on the
that was
credit.
a good one too. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a big comic book freak. So the moment that you said Avengers, I went just like fanboy.
Me too. I love the Avengers. I love those movies. And I know somebody that worked on it has an IMDb page. Oh my God.
Now that you've kind of like switched gears and moved to the virtual reality, augmented reality industry, that side of the industry, are you still using similar programs? I'm assuming when you were working, you were using things like 3D Studio Max or Maya, something like that?
So I mainly, I did some jobs in Max. I didn't like it that much because I grew up with Maya, and for animation, it's basically the tool. Right now, I don't use any of these tools anymore. I let the artists use the tools. I do Skype and Microsoft Office. I'm learning a lot about engines, game engines, which I was not familiar before. So we have Unity, and we work with Unreal Engine as well. So it's interesting because another way of how you set up a project, which I'm still learning because I always have to ask many, many questions how things work because the pipeline is different than from movies. But I'm learning about that now.
And this new career, is this what's kind of helping allow you to travel more often, or is that just kind of more a personal thing?
Well, basically, it's the opposite. No, because when I used to work as a 3D artist, I was a freelancer. So I would just have my gigs, made nice money, and then go travel. So now I'm employed and I don't travel as much anymore. And I sometimes really feel stuck. I feel like I'm missing to be on the road. I'm like, it's itching. I want to scratch and I can't, So it's for now. I changed my career. So I don't have the experience yet to say, okay, I want to do freelance now. I think I need more experience. But for the future, I really hope to establish a way of working that allows me to travel more. Definitely.
I love to see your travel stuff, and the things that you focus on, the stories that you tell are really fascinating. And what I don't know if I'm jumping ahead, Casper, but what I wanted to talk about your project in the Ukraine that you did, the Chernobyl project.
I know you love that one.
I know.
Yeah.
For you, I'm sure, some of the people who are listening to this weren't even born when Chernobyl.
Nothing. You keep going. You're good. I just got a whole page on Chernobyl. I'm like, yes.
Oh yeah. But people, some of the people listening here weren't even born when this happened. It was 32 years ago.
Yeah, 1986, right?
Yeah.
Right, and I always thought I am the chicken, but it seems like there are even younger people in this world. Yeah.
That's right. So so first of all, I want to know why you went to Kiev, then you went out to Chernobyl. What drove you out there? What compelled you to go out and visit that and document that?
So everything started with the idea of doing a motorbike trip with a friend's want. I have my license. And so I have this friend and he was like, okay, once, Hannah, you have your license, we really have to go on a trip. And I was like, sure. So we started thinking of where we could go, and we were thinking Corsica could be nice. And we were already checking dates. And then one day he texts me, he's like, or we skip it and go to Chernobyl. I was like, why the heck should I go to Chernobyl? Why? Tell me why. And first I have this instinct, no. The idea is to do a motorbike trip. So why should I not do it? But once I say the no, it's out, and then I can think of other things. And I was like, okay, Chernobyl. So I started Googling and thinking of it. And I was like, wow, this is actually super interesting from a photography point of view, right? It's something I, by myself, would probably never would have thought of doing. Why, And I was like, yeah, actually, why not? So I texted him back the other day. I was like, okay, I'm in. And he was like, really? I'm trying to find someone for a year or so. And no one wants to go with me. Everything thinks I'm crazy, or they have families or whatsoever. But yeah, so let's do it. And then I was thinking, okay, if I do Chernobyl, then I want to do Kiev as well, right? So I told my friend, look, I want to do Kiev as well. I'm going to go like 3 days. And he was like, yeah, I don't want to take holidays. So let's just meet there. Like, you do your Kiev thing. I'll come. He used to live in London back then. And like, let's meet in Kiev and then go to Chernobyl. And I was like, great, let's do it. So I booked my flight 3 days before he arrived. And beforehand, I already Googled street photography Kiev. And so I found this one guy who I was like, wow, amazing pictures. And I reached out to him. I was like, hey, I'm Hanna. I'm coming to Kiev. Do you want to hang out or show me where I can shoot or just give me some hints at least? And he was like, yeah, sure, cool. Could you bring me this book? Because Amazon doesn't deliver it here. And it was Morocco by Harry Gruyère. I don't know if I pronounce it right. Amazing. Close, yeah. Like,
I'm going to say that's correct.
Yeah. So I bought the book, and then before I flew to Kiev, I'm texting him like, hey, I'm almost on my way. I'm having your book. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm traveling the first 2 days. You'll be in the city, but I'll connect you with a good friend of mine. So the first 2 days I will hang out during the day by myself, and in the afternoon I would catch up with Volodya, who is a photojournalist, and he showed me around Kiev and gave me a lot of historical background, which was amazing. And with him, I could walk around everywhere and felt super safe and good. And, you know, it's like when you don't speak the language, even Czech and Ukrainian is sort of close. It's not close enough to have a good conversation. Like, I had many conversations, but who knows what we told each other, you know? Like, I had some really fun encounters there. But we always laughed. Everyone laughed. So I thought it was good, you know, and I had a good feeling about it. And so I met Volodya, and then Misha came, which was like the original guy who I contacted. And I didn't know he's one of the, I think, 2 official photographers of the Ukrainian president. So he had to travel with the president. So, okay, good excuse.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Okay, no, but so I would meet those 2 guys. They were so cool. This was like, they made me have such a good time. And then my friend, he came from London, and I was like, hey, you know, I have these 2 new friends here. And so they met, and everyone get along super well, and it was so much fun. And I really I'm grateful I met those guys, because they were super nice and showed us so much. Chernobyl, so my friend Murphy is his surname, but we all call him Murph. He so wanted to rent a Lada. He was like, no, we're going to do a private tour. I don't want to be in a bus with some stupid tourists, you know. I'm a cool tourist in a cool little Lada. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So very early in the morning, this red little Lada came, and the driver's name was Kolya. And Kolya had a T-shirt on which didn't say Coca-Cola Zero, but Chernobyl Hero, like the same kind of, it looked like the Coca-Cola logo. I was like, okay, that must be our guide. And he was like, yeah, I'm Kolya, hello, and come in, let's go. And so we went to Chernobyl, and somewhere on the way, super close to Chernobyl, which was like 45 minutes drive maybe, or an hour, not more. Denis, our guide, joined us, you know. So we had the driver and our guide, and the 2 of us, we were in that Lada. And it was amazing. Like, we went there for 2 days, and I can tell you now so many stories. I think I can fill your hour up easily with just talking about Chernobyl.
But we talked about this before, and you were telling me a fascinating story about the radiation levels and how you had to be careful, even still after 32 years, you still had to be careful about the radiation. Because let me just back up, because for those of you who don't know about Chernobyl, there was a major nuclear meltdown of the plant there, and it spread a lot of radiation over the city, the nearby city. What was the city?
Actually, the world. They had isotopes were found all around the world, but it was massive. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about the radiation. How you guys had to be careful with that.
So first of all, I was told, Hanna, if you go to Chernobyl, it will shine even more. So I was like, okay. I thought it was the other way around. I thought it's gonna make me shine, but
you go from Avengers to being your own mutant X-Men. So.
Right. So anyway, no, we were told that wherever we go, it will be safe. Like to the not safe places, we will not even be taken. Right.
Okay.
So there is some part called the Red Forest, and they were like, yeah, we don't even go there. Like, you don't really have a chance to get damage from the radiation. Of course, maybe you shouldn't lay on the ground or touch things, and especially outside, because the cloud actually settled on top of everything inside the buildings where you are not allowed to go in, and you sign a piece of paper, but of course you do, because that's why you go there. Yeah, so radiation-wise, it was a ride, and we had like the little dosimeter. You call that like this in English? Dosimeter or Geiger counter?
Geiger counter, yeah.
Geiger counter.
The clickety-clack thing.
Exactly. And so I asked our guide, what's normal or not? And he was like, well, if you see 999, you have like 1 hour left.
Wow.
And you're like, okay, so we never saw that number. It was 0 point something. Like, yeah, I don't know. It was, it was
pretty nominal then. Yeah.
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 At least in comparison, it definitely helps kind of clear some fog as far as the perceptions of Chernobyl, because from outside looking in, you think it's just, you walk in there and you immediately just fall over.
Right.
But as far as like safety gear, you're using like masks or like hazmat suit, anything like that?
So we were told you can just go however you want. The day we arrived, I had like a long pants on and just a shirt. And then they were like, yeah, you have to have like long sleeves. And I was like, yeah, really? And I was like, yeah, it's a new rule. It started today. So I figured that was because I was traveling with someone called Murphy. So hello, Murphy's Law,
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it was very hot. Like we went in August, I think it was. It was very, very warm. But yeah. Yeah. Shall I? Yeah.
What were you I was going to say, what were you looking for photographically? What did you capture?
So I didn't really have a plan. I tried to make a plan of what I want to capture, but it's just so confusing. There are so many places you don't know where they will take you. So I just was like, okay, they have the plan. They take you somewhere and I just will shoot. So one of the first places we went to was a kindergarten, which was like super scary because you had like
that's creepy.
Yeah, it was super like creepy is a good word. It was like you see like puppets and these little tiny beds and everything is just destroyed and covered in dust. And yeah, like this whole thing to me, it seemed like if you wanted to build a film set, you could not build a better film set. And it's so giant, and you go and you drive in the car and you go to a building and then it doesn't stop. It's just, it's crazy. Yeah, it's a city. The city next to Chernobyl, to the plant, is called Pripyat, which is like the ghost town right now. So this is where we mainly were. And also, I think after the kindergarten, there were some cranes, and we went there, and our driver, he was like, yeah, so these are the cranes. You can climb up, but just please don't fall. So we went there, and then we look at each other because we see that other crane that was already laying in the water. And then we just climb up some, oh my God. I was like, I'm not really a person who gets scared quickly, but I was like, I really hope this thing does not crash right now when we're on it, because it was a strange feeling. It was like doing weird sounds when you see all the holes and you're like, I don't know how many 20 meters above the ground, and you just hope that everything
Oh,
everyone
my God.
survived that.
Now, did you find a lot of personal items that were left by the people there?
Well, yes and no. Well, personal. Maybe in the school. We went to a school, and there were some like paintings of kids, or Yeah. It was
everything just got left in place like Pompeii.
Yeah, somehow, yes, it was like that. And then you see sometimes you find a shoe or a gas mask or things laying around. But of course, people were there, and I think they took the most interesting things with them. But you have like some teddy bears around there, or there are things like that.
Yeah.
How's the animal life, the wildlife in the area? Was it just complete silence, or did you notice like birds and just kind of general wildlife still moving on, and even through the radiation?
Yeah, so I watched many documentaries. So there is a big wildlife. There are actually a lot of wolves. Like if you Google Chernobyl, you probably will come across some wolf documentaries. I seen a lot of dogs. They're not really wildlife, but they were they were so beautiful. I don't know, like their fur, they were so friendly. I actually saw the happiest dogs live on Little Corn Island in Nicaragua, where I was some time back. But now I think the happiest and most beautiful dogs live in Chernobyl. So that's my only kind of wildlife I really experienced. But of course there are birds and probably a lot of animals they hide. I mean, that's the beauty of it, that nature takes it all back, including all the animals have a place to be right now, which I find is the positive thing about this negative disaster, right?
Yeah. Mother Nature's way of always keeping on.
Right. But actually, I have a little story that I think is entertaining. You might like it.
Please.
My friend, we start with, so they drove us to the sites, and then they were like, so this is the school, you can go and check it out. I see you in 2 hours, Just be quiet, because of the snipers, they sometimes train here and they shouldn't see you. I was like, okay.
What?
I was like, come on, he must be joking, whatever. I don't know. Anyway, so we come back and we drive somewhere else, and then I tell my friend, look, I think they drink while they wait. And he's like, what do you think? I mean, what do they drink? I was like, well, what do they drink? Like alcohol. I mean, what would they drink? And he's like, but why? And my friend, he's French, half English, or no, sorry, Scottish, Irish, sorry, Murph. Well, anyway, so he doesn't have the Slavic background like I do. And I was like, well, vodka, what do I know what they drink? And I was like, no, but why should they? I mean, we pay them. And I was like, yeah, exactly. I mean, we're in the middle of Ukraine. What would you do? And then they have time and money, And he's like, nah, I don't think so. Anyway, he always wanted to drive the Lada. And they always told us, no, you cannot drive the Lada. It's tourists not allowed to drive. And I was always teasing them, like, come on, this is such a good spot for letting a tourist drive a Lada. And they were like, no, you cannot drive, not possible. And then at some point they asked me, like, Hanna, my friend, you want to drive the car? And I was like, yay, like looking at Murph, like, yay, this is like so cool. I think he was a bit upset at the moment that they didn't ask him. But anyway, so we drive somewhere. I let him drive too. I was listening to some radio Chernobyl with some reggaeton, and I don't know what came out there. And then we stopped somewhere, and like Dennis was saying, okay, guys, let's have a break. We have some time. Let's chill. And we're really in the middle of nowhere. There is a lake. There is some grass. There is some trees, like nature, pure nature. You would not think where you are, Could be anywhere, but it's Chernobyl. And then, okay, we walk around looking at the lake, and then I turn around and I see that vodka bottle on the car. Just a little bit left, and 2 plastic mugs or cups. And I look at Dennis, and he looks at me, and he's like, yeah, you want to drink, my friends, come on over and drink. And I was like, okay, you don't want me to drive me anymore? And he's like, no, but of course you drive better.
Little vodka, huh?
Yeah,
goes a long way.
and it was so good. Like, it was really like not the one that you drink and you have to make that ugly face. Like, no, it was more of a smile after drinking it. No, but Chernobyl, it was definitely like the highlight of my last year. Like, also Kiev was amazing, and like Chernobyl was wow. Like, I didn't expect anything, and maybe this is also always helps when you don't expect anything, but it was just, I would so do it again. If there weren't so many other places I would love to go.
Yeah, I would love to go myself to Chernobyl and check that place out.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, as long as the snipers aren't around.
Yeah, prefer no snipers. That would be best. But I mean,
I make a good target. You know, that's the problem.
Now you just go with them, so you're safe.
There you go. Now that's when you just ask to use one of their guns. Be like, hey, she got to drive that thing. Let me shoot the gun.
Yeah. Let's change weapons. You get my Fuji and I get your 47, K-47. No. Okay.
See how that plays out.
I don't give my Fuji away. Yeah.
No. Hold on to that tight. Now, talking about travels, let's use this opportunity to kind of pivot away. I was reading through your Instagram and a number of other stories, like your El Salvador project, for instance. That was absolutely fantastic. And am I right in saying you were there for about a year? Is that right?
Yeah.
What brought you down to El Salvador, and what were you trying to capture while you were there?
Well, so it was before university when I finished my Abitur, my German like A-levels. I really wanted to get out. Like I wanted to go experience something new. And I applied for this volunteer program, and they had different locations. And I applied basically for Central America, which was El Salvador, Costa Rica, then Brazil and Argentina. And one day they called me up and they were like, yeah, so we are sending you to El Salvador. And I was like, woohoo, let's check the map again. Where was that? Tiny place. Like I didn't know much before I went. But I knew I just needed to get out from where I was and go discover the world. I was 19 years back then. And so this whole project was about, I was a homeless helper, basically. I would go and work with homeless people. There was this homeless shelter where they could come every day or during the week from, I think, Monday to Friday, Monday to Thursday, it depended. And they could take a shower, they could take a nap, they would get lunch, they could just hang out there with us. We were 2 volunteers, we could talk, we would give them sometimes, puzzles or just the most normal things, or a piece of paper and a pen. And so they could just get distracted from their lives on the streets. And it was my first time that I left Europe. And I remember, I think the only time I was really, really scared was the night before. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Where am I going? I don't even speak Spanish. Holy moly. But the moment, like I traveled there with that other German guy, with David. The moment in the morning when we went to the airport and just get on the flight to first Madrid, Guatemala, and then San Salvador. It was just already I was so happy. It was so exciting. It was definitely the best year of my life, as a whole year in a row, so to say, 365 days. Yes, it was. Numbers are not, it's not mine now. But yeah, it was extremely. It gave me so extremely much, and I think I gave those people something. I know I cannot change the world, but I could give those people something for their lives, and they gave me so much more. I'm 32 now. I went there when I was 19, so it's some while ago. It was 2006, July 20.
But it stuck with you, it sounds like.
Absolutely.
That's something that is going to be there with you for the rest of your life and it inspire you in that way.
Yeah, because it's I really experienced life. I like you leave your comfort zone basically when you do something like that. You go to a country where you don't speak the language, you deal with circumstances you're not used to, you deal with death, you deal with life, you deal with you have to reinvent yourself from almost point zero, and that's what I love. And it's not always easy. No, I had my moments there, but all in all, it was just like the best I could do to get to know myself, to get to know where I'm from, to value life in a very different way than I did before. Because like the stories there were just sometimes heartbreaking, and it was sad and hopeless. But at the same time, like those people, my God, like they laughed all the time, no matter what. They were so close to die, and they would just laugh because, I mean, we'll die one day anyway. So we're so close to death here. You know, they have a lot of gang violence there, and homicide rates are the highest of the world. And yeah, but the people were so positive. You know, I live in Munich where everyone has everything and people just cannot smile. They're on energy saving mode like all the time. I don't know. I'm like, damn it. Like people, please, you know, it's not that difficult. So El Salvador was incredible.
You know, and one of the things that I loved about your images from El Salvador is that the people, you engaged the people so much. I mean, they had a nickname for you at the time. I mean, it was just fascinating, the stories that you were able to tell about the people. Even your walks through gang territory. I mean, it's like this woman is doing stuff that even I wouldn't do. You know? And I'm from the south side of Chicago. I wouldn't do that. You know. But tell, I mean, how did you get over? Well, I mean, you might have had the personality anyway, but how, especially with your first trip out of Europe.
Yeah.
How did you get over that obstacle of engaging the people like that? And then putting the camera in their face and capturing.
Okay, so I did not do that. I did not go with the camera and just put it in their face. Like I needed my time to really get more comfortable with all the situation. As well, I wouldn't have my camera with me all the time. Like the pictures I took from the gang area where I was working. Those pictures are pictures from, I would say, even a few days from all over the year I've been there. Because, I mean, if you have a camera, then, and you show it, then you're stupid. Because, I mean, if you're lucky, you'll survive, but they would kill you for $1, you know?
That's,
Even though I heard stories from, there was, someone who was engaged with that homeless shelter as well, also a German guy. He was a little bit something like our boss, or he would like live in El Salvador. He just died last year, unfortunately, not because of the gangs or anything. He was just old. But so one of the gangsters, they got his phone. They just put a gun on his head, and he had to give them their phone, like his phone. And the next day, the gangster came and apologized. And I was like, I didn't know you were one of the good ones, because there was an agreement like between the boss and the homeless shelter people that we were allowed to be there. They knew we wouldn't do anything bad, but actually good for the people. So there was the silent agreement, which also I experienced. So I didn't even, I mean, I heard of it, but when you live there, you don't think of these things. But one day I was walking down that tiny little stinky street, and there is a guy on a yellow motorbike, and he comes and stops and like towards me, and he was like, "Girl, I don't know what you are doing here, but this is really not a good place to be. You should just get out of here." And even before I understood what was going on, like all the guys from the area would come running and they wanted to beat him up. And I had to scream like, no, it's fine. It's fine. Like, don't do anything to him, And then, so that was an interesting story. You're part of something you don't even know, Also, one of these stories is so usually it did happen very rarely that the police came into the area, right? Because I mean, if they get recognized, they will be killed, and their families and children, and it's like it sounds like a computer game to me. I don't know how this is possible, but this is what happens. But one day I was asked to bring 2 kids there was a little school like down the street. And so they asked me if I could bring those 2 kids there. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I leave that homeless shelter, the house. And the whole street is covered with policemen with black uniforms, with masks over their heads and pump guns in their hands and no ID numbers, like I was like, whoa, and pickups everywhere. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? And then all my guys standing, like hands up against the walls. And I walk just with these 2 little children. And then they see me, like my guys, and they were like, buen dia, Janita. That's how they call me. Like, hey, ¿cómo estás? And I'm like, hey, I'm good. How about you? And they were like, well, not so good right now, but it's fine. And they keep like joking while they are investigated or like checked out by these police guys. And all the police guys, I just see how everyone turns around behind me, because the last thing they would expect is a redhead walking down the street. They're like, yeah, it was, I wish I had a video of that, because it was so surreal. Like everyone just staring like, wow, where this redhead come from, doesn't really fit in here. But I felt so well there. It's weird, but I did.
Yeah. Well, you got some fantastic portraits. Those street portraits are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
The imagery is absolutely engaging. You really had a way about capturing the life, the reality of the location. You didn't approach this with some type of touristy rose-colored glasses, if that makes sense. And and in looking through your stream of images, it really helps kind of put you in a place and makes you think more about the situation. I would love to see this get shared and seen more widely. And we're going to be adding a link, particularly to your Instagram feed, but if you have anywhere else that particular project can be seen, we want to share that around. Absolutely.
Yeah. I must say, El Salvador is, as I said, like I kept getting back to it. Like now that I'm in Munich and I really missed something here, like a bit of life, and it just came back to me, and I was like, should I post these pictures? They are so old, right? I mean, they are over 10 years old. But also, I believe that by now I would take different images, because I have way more experience. I would think more of what I do, or I would apply the experience I have. I would probably not think more, but at the same time, like when I think back of this time, it's just so, it's like it was now, I close my eyes and I'm there and I live it. I'm like, yes, I want to share that. And those people gave me so much. So why shouldn't I give them back a little bit of fame? So like you give me a little bit of fame on your podcast, which is like super amazing. Thanks again for that.
We're always happy to share our little corner of the world. That's for sure.
That's right.
Yeah.
It definitely does make me think about the fact of like being so far removed from the time in which you were actually there, time-wise, and where you are today as a photographer. I would be really interested in seeing what you could capture with your new eye, so to speak, especially when comparing to what you had done already, which was impressive.
Yes, that was 10 years ago, over 10 years ago. I mean, wow.
Yeah, looking at the images, you would never.
Yeah, I know.
You would never assume that.
Pictures from my very, very first rolls that I shot, and I'm like, wow, they're a bit blurry, but like it's there. I get it. I get it. Yeah.
Well, I definitely I would feel so horrible if we ended up overlooking this. But in talking with you recently, you have a project coming up.
Am I?
You were talking about the book
Oh, the book that Jim wants to have so much right now. So I have so many ideas of what I want to do. The first idea is of doing little booklets of different series that I've done so far. And now that I posted El Salvador, and oh my God, I have so many pictures. So what I have on Instagram is just a little glimpse of it, right? This is just the Tutunichapa, like the place, the area where I work. But I have so many pictures from so many other things. So I thought maybe I should do a little book about it, you know, also with my stories. Jim wants a Chernobyl book.
Yes.
That's right. I
Yes.
told you.
Make two. That's two of us.
So I thought maybe I should start with some booklets, and I already checked out some shops where I could print it. And, you know, also I have a website.
Yes, that's finally live there, right?
Yeah, since a few, like I had a password, which I just, I canceled it so everyone can see what I did. Even though I have so much more already, I'm like, yeah.
Release it to the world.
Yes, I have to. It's really so many things. Like, the day before yesterday, I shot my very first event, you know, a rap battle event. But anyway, that's another story. So maybe there might be time for a book at some point. I'm just so busy, and I'm a summer person and I don't like winter that much, but maybe it's a good time to focus on stuff you can do at home. And I think making a book would be a good idea. Yeah.
You definitely have the substance to be able to make multiple books. If not, I do like your idea about the kind of brochure, like or zine style, approaching it like a zine.
Right.
I think that would you definitely have the archive, the body of work to start putting something like that together. At least a series of these various travels. I mean, for this show, we barely scratched the surface on your travels, and unfortunately we only have the hour to try and squeeze them into, and which means we're going to have you back on. So you're gonna be one of those guests. We're gonna have you back on here sooner than later. That's for sure.
Nice.
We still have to talk about the Philippines. You've gone to the Philippines.
I have
Where else?
So I have a brother who lives on the Philippines, and basically just I was thinking, well, like, what do I do? Where do I go for my holidays? And I realized that with the El Salvador thing, I can share a story and people might get aware. Like I have just a few followers, so it's not a big thing, but at least for a little moment that I can give them some awareness. So I thought I might go just find some project somewhere on this planet that I find interesting and go and make a documentary of it for 1 or 2 weeks, maybe, depends on my holidays. And also one idea would be to go to the Philippines because my brother, he lives there with his family, and he works for the GIZ in development. They help farmers to get independent from other countries, and I think what he does is really something good for the world and for the people. And I thought I could actually go and accompany him with one of his projects, you know. Or if not that, I miss Latin America so much, so maybe just find something in Latin America. Or I almost was checking flights I would really love to go to Georgia, like here here. I mean, not like, I mean Albania.
Yeah. No, we know which Georgia Armenia, you mean, because
Albania as well. Montenegro, Albania would be great, but Georgia and Armenia and Azerbaijan would be something I'd be super interested in. More Eastern Europe for sure, because Eastern Europe is fun and cool, and I just need to practice my Russian, which is like 0.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'm negative. I know nothing except "niet." I know how to say "niet," but that's about it.
Yeah. No, but Philippines, you asked me about the Philippines. Yeah, I went there and I traveled there. It was great. Would I love to have a base somewhere to visit friends or whoever and then do my thing? You know, because I like to travel by myself, because that's a very different way of meeting people or facing situations. When you're with someone, it can go well as well. But whenever I have friends asking me, hey, we should travel somewhere, I'm like, I mean, yes, but it's like yes and no. But actually, I will travel to meet some friends now. In 2 days, I go to Barcelona for a little bit and meet some friends from... I also lived in Buenos Aires, for those who want to know. And I'm so looking forward to see some of my friends and roommates from back then and a little bit of Latin life. A little.
How long were you in Buenos Aires?
In Buenos Aires, I've been about 9 months in a row. But I've been like more times to Argentina. But very, very interesting experience as well.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, we do have a lot to talk about on the next show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This is going to have to be a part 2. There is without question.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's do this here. I just want to throw it out to you. This is something that we ask all of our guests.
I'm waiting for this. Yeah, go ahead.
And if there was any place in time and space since the inception of the camera, where would you go and why?
So every time you ask these questions, I try to get an answer, and very often there are different answers to this question. But more and more, I'm realizing that one thing that I would really love to capture is going back to either like myself, my parents, or my grandparents when they were kids. Like going back the roots of my family and all the stories that I know from them, just as a story, having been told, to picture it. You know, like one of my grandmothers, she was born 1924, and like she's not alive anymore, but she told us so many things, and there are so many things, and of course, in the world that'd be interesting, but I'm kind of interested in my own story. You know, this life is in a way about me, and I feel like the more I get to know myself, the better I can enjoy my life. And I love that my other grandmother is still alive, and we have Skype calls now and then, and just talking about what they had for breakfast back then. Like all these questions that I know that one day I won't be able to ask anymore. You know, but this is something I find extremely interesting to myself. Like even to like make a picture of little Hanna jumping around somewhere. Like how cool would that be? You know, like this.
There is a picture of little Hanna jumping around.
I know.
I have seen it.
Yeah, that was in Norway.
That's a wonderful option. It's such a wonderfully introspective look. Oh, if only more of us thought that way.
Yeah.
Family.
Yeah. But interesting question. Like, I wonder what I answer next time.
Yeah, see, exactly. We're going to have you on a second time, and you get a second go at it.
I hope
the next time you won't have to be as sentimental.
No, next time we'll do it from San Francisco. I hope I can make my little travel there.
Yeah,
would be nice.
Yes,
I miss it.
Yeah.
Any plans for it? Any potential San Francisco trips coming up soon?
Not right now, actually. Actually, no.
Right.
But I'll let you know. That's for sure.
Please do.
You better. Yeah.
Yep. Right. And this time, whenever you're here, it won't be an accidental meetup like it was last time.
Yeah, but it was perfect, wasn't it? Like, that's the thing. Also, I was a lot by myself walking around, and then I see these bunch of peoples with cameras, and I was like, what is this? And that's how I met you on the street photography festival. Yep. And I remember talking to Jim, and then he was like, I have this podcast, it might be interesting to get you on there. And I was like, yeah, me on a podcast, like, you're a funny guy. But yeah, so here I am. Thank you so much.
Right.
Really.
It took us 2.5 years to do it, but yeah, we got it.
Yeah, everything starts with a little idea, and sometimes it grows.
That's right.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, you had alluded to it a while ago, but let's go ahead and share with our listeners out there the best link or place that people can find more about you and your work.
Right. So Instagram, it's just my name all together. It's Hanna Radek. It's Hanna with only one H, HANNARADEK. And then I have that website that, I just released for you. So go have a look at it. And it's hannaradekphotography.com. And yeah, as I said, I have so many things going on, and I wish I could share more, but yeah, step by step, right? So please come say hello. I'm really happy when people like criticize me, tell me you don't like it. Like as long as it's honest, I love it, you know. And if you like it, even better.
Fantastic.
That's how you learn. Well, Jim, where can we find out more information about you?
All right. As always, JimWatkinsPhoto.com, and you can see all the links to my social media platforms right there.
Excellent. And yes, you can find out more about me at recasper.com. That's where you're going to find my blog posts, links to my Instagram and all those social feeds. But most of all, go take a look at streetpx.com. That's going to be the location for all of our past episodes and our future episodes, any news that we have coming up. And you will also find some buttons, some links on there to join us for our upcoming secret print exchange, which is always a good time. And we're already getting tons of sign-ups already. Now, if you are enjoying the show and you want to help us keep the mics flowing and the bandwidth going, then definitely go and take a look at patreon.com, where you can throw a few bucks our way and get some stuff in return, everything from prints or a ringtone or various other random things that we create. And Jim's, what are you doing there? You're holding up Hannah's picture.
Sent me a picture, yeah.
Oh, sweet.
It wasn't from the print exchange, but when you said that, I said, I just show her.
Oh, yes, yeah. You're gonna have to take a picture of that, and we're gonna have to put that in the show notes so the people that's listening can figure out what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah,
that's right.
Just some nuns.
Yes. And so if Patreon's not your thing, that's cool. We can always, and we're always happy to welcome that digital currency called gold stars and reviews. So go take a look at iTunes, find us on iHeartRadio, wherever your podcast chasing choice is. Go throw words our way. That helps us get into more ears and spread this show across the world. So again, we want to thank everyone out there for listening to another wonderful episode of Street PX. And more importantly, thank you, Hanna, for coming on the show.
Well, I thank you guys. This is a big shout out to you because I listen to your podcasts, and for me, it's an honor to be there amongst so many great other photographers and artists. And what you do is really great, and keep on doing it. And yeah, go woohoo!
Oh,
great job.
Thank you.
It was an honor having you on the show.
Thank you so much.
So much fun.
Yeah. And there's an hour is such a short amount of time, so we are definitely having you back in to dive down many more of those paths of stories and wonderful things. Yeah.
Can't wait.
Great.
Cool. All right, everybody. Thank you again, and we will talk back at you in 2 weeks.
All right. See you later, guys.
Cheers.